to understand is that marriage is a relationship where trust must be built over time. So we need to be committed as couples to set aside our own interest for the good of the other person so that we can be able to develop skills that will help us in keeping pace with positive happenings in our relationship and in our marriage. And when we set our hearts to doing these things, it becomes very, very rewarding at the end of the day. So, like we have said today, we're going to look at um, money, which is the aspect that or the conflicts that surrounds money. And before I hand over to our one and only Mama G, most couples argue over bills, over debt, over spending, over other financial issues. So, how we decide to deal with money in our marriages will determine whether there will come problems that will be so negative or problems that we can manage effectively. And so some of us tuned in are already or may have already been experiencing all these things and may have been going through challenges. And some are here, I'm sure, looking for solutions. And many couples argue and even quarrel over their money issues. How to spend becomes a problem. Overspending becomes a problem,
Mm.
and sometimes we are not preview to incomes from our spouses and then how they spend. Some spend secretly, and some want to control the income of the family, yet they won't declare what they are bringing, but everything has to be about them, and then buying things outside, planning, putting the family into debt. So there are a series of financial steps we take here and there that affect or plunges the family into all manner of things. And depending on where you are listening to us from, you are in Europe or the Americas, and the issue of bills and rent becomes an issue, and you go into certain homes and it is about 50-50. And I mean, we will look at all those terrains. Is it supposed to be 50-50? We are Christians.
Yes.
50-50. And then at the end of the day, what happens if you exhaust your 50, I exhaust my 50, and there are more financial demands? Who is going to go 60 and who is going to go 70, and who will be willing to go? All these things create a lot of conflict. And I believe that we must be able to use this forum to address the elephant in the room. That is why we want to start with last week we started with conflicts in marriages or relationships, and we want to pick up the issues that um, bring up the conflict. So there are varied things we'll look at, but we're starting with money. Like I said last Wednesday, sex is another area of conflict. Relatives is another area. Poor communication, which we talked about. Children can be another area of conflict, and friends can be a serious area of conflict as well. Domestic chores or the things that happen in the home can be another source of conflict. And then formed habits, expectations, personal conflict, family backgrounds, and differences in faith can also bring a lot of conflict. And different levels of education, that is another thing people underestimate. Different levels of education can widen the gap between us, and it creates a lot of conflict. And sometimes also repeated mistakes. One person keeps repeating certain mistakes and all that. So, yeah, there are a lot of areas that we will be looking at. But today we navigating from uh, the money
Okay.
starting off.
Thank you very
So,
much, Dr. J. And we are so grateful. As I mentioned earlier on, listeners, you can join the discussion via text and also via comment on Facebook. Text and WhatsApp is 0750 6285994. And on Facebook, any of the platforms you are on, please leave a comment and we will read it out loud. Mama G, let me ask a very controversial question.
Please do.
Who is in charge of money when it comes to relationship?
The finance advisor.
Maybe this will spark a different phase of tonight's conversation. Who is in charge of money?
The money man or the money woman.
Okay, so both couples are in charge of money issues in a marriage. Yes, because money is something that is a resource that comes into the hands of the couple, and they would need to manage it together. Important thing to note is that in every marriage, each spouse has their own strengths and weaknesses. And the most important thing is that once both of you know yourselves, then by mutual agreement and by the attitude of knowing where you are going, you would mutually agree that this person should have an upper hand when it comes to financial management in the home. So it is not something that it's stated anywhere that the man should be or the woman should be. It is a matter of understanding, because you would have a situation where either the man is bringing more money home or the woman is bringing more money home. But because the one who is even bringing the money knows that I can make the money, but I'm not able to keep it well, you are more prudent, you are more guided and more disciplined when it comes to using the money. I will give that responsibility to you, so that for everything you are going to be the accountant of the home.
But in most cases, Mama G, I asked you because in most cases, the women are in charge.
Okay,
The
so
woman is paying the
one role
bills.
that the woman has is that the woman is the manager of the home. And that
Okay.
is why you find that women are more prone to managing the finances of the home. But when it comes to major spendings, when it comes to investments and other things, so it's one of the things that I will touch on when it comes to looking at the various things that kind of inform how finances are being managed, or how conflicts about finances would happen.
Exactly.
So let me take it from here. But one thing I just want to add to what Dr. J said
Okay.
was that one of the biggest financial issues that can impact a marriage negatively is how the spouses handle their money and the views they both have on money that is coming into the house. And a recent study I saw indicated that relative to other issues that, especially like the ones that Dr. J mentioned, which cause disagreements and conflicts in the house, one of the most problematic causes of conflicts and disagreements is money. And in a recent study where about 100 husbands and 100 wives were picked to do a research on, it came out that compared to non-money issues, that's all the other issues, marital conflicts about money were more pervasive, they were more problematic, they were more recurrent, and remained unresolved despite attempts at solving them. And one of the main reason is that when it comes to issues about money, is a revolving factor. It's a revolving factor, because you find that when it comes to spending, it's not like one off and that is it. So you would have a number of conflicts. Probably let's go out, let's not go out. It's a one off. I don't want to go, I want to go. Every time you say you don't want to go, kind of thing, back forth, yes, then you shelve it. But with money, if it is bills, every month it will come. If it is things to do with how much money you made and how much money you didn't make, and especially what Dr. J was saying, 50%, 50%, every month, sometimes it could even be weekly, it would come up. So it never ends. If it is not handled well, every month you are going to face the same kind. So it get to a point where within the couple, when it is getting to the end of the month, one of them is scared because this same conflict is going to come up again. He's going to ask me how much I made this month again. She's going to ask me where is the money again. So it's something that is revolving. It continuously happen, and that conflict more often than not never ends. So it is a factor that has to really be looked at very critically so that it doesn't become a lasting conflict at home. Because as long as it continuously comes, it brings bad blood, and there is displeasure, arguments. Sometimes it could be heated, sometimes all kinds of words are thrown here and there. And at the end of the day, how many days would it go before the next one comes? You are simply destroying your marriage, because every time you throw words at one another, or there is animosity and there is a silent war and all that, it is just weakening the foundation of the marriage. So it's very important that this particular issue, conflict about finances, have to very well handled in every marriage so that it doesn't become that bone of contention that never leaves the house. But when you look at certain situations which can easily cause these conflicts to come up, I'll be touching on a few of them, and then we look at how some of these things can be worked on. You cannot say that it can be eradicated totally. You can only put in measures so that the same thing does not happen again. It could come in another form, but if you resolve one, you put in plan to resolve it, so that that's a standing plan to ensure it doesn't happen. It would be something stable that you can be utilizing. One issue that brings financial conflict in marriages is the differences in opinions about spending. Example, when one individual may want to purchase something and the other individual feels, no, let's not buy it now. I've come into contact with a number of situations where probably the man want to maybe put up a building, like buy a house. The woman thinks, well, my car is old, I wish I could change it. Or can we rather put it into some other investment? Then a conflict starts. So agreeing on what to spend, the opinion, differences in opinion. So you find that at the silent back of everybody's mind, there are dreams and their ambitions. If these things are not aligned before the money comes into your hands, you end up having to now argue about what to use the money for when it comes into your hand, because it's not planned already. So, as part of the daily things that a couple should do, you need to be talking broadly about dreams, because yes, sometimes that money will come. Sometimes it comes up as something that was not really thought through well at the beginning. But then when it comes, what you do, you need to have thought about it. The differences can really pose a big challenge. And sometimes what you would find out is that because there's a difference in opinion about how it is being spent, and one person would want to stand his or her ground on it and go ahead, especially depending on where the money is coming from, assuming the money is coming from the man, and the man has decided that this one, I want to use it, put it into a mortgage, for instance. And probably the woman has had challenges with her car, and or maybe friends are changing cars, things that are going on. And so she feels, I want to change my car. Or let me flip the coin. The woman thinks, well, we've been living in this rented house for some time. Let's get a mortgage. And the man is thinking, well, now, this new car, this Mercedes, I have really eyed it for some time, so let me use the money. If the man is the one who made the money, there's a tendency he will stand his ground and he will use the money to buy the car. You find that then the woman will put this issue in her mind, at the back of her mind, that, well, once I have said I will get a mortgage, I will get it. And sometimes you find that in recent times, I've seen number of them, that then the woman would at a point also make some money and on the quiet would go getting a mortgage without the knowledge of the man. And then what happens is down the line, it get to a point where now books are being opened. So she also opens up and I have gotten this mortgage. Then the man will stand back. Okay, you didn't involve me right from the beginning, so I'm not part of it because the man has that role. His ego can never be bruised. He is still the head of the home. So you can't go get in a home without involving him. And so then it becomes a problem. I have seen a situation where at the end of the day, a house has been built, but they are not able to go and live in because the man was not informed. So the man tells the woman, well, if you want to move into the house, you can move. I'm not moving, I'm living here. So then that is a contention that would travel for so long. Eventually, third parties will have to come in. And if things are not handled well, divorce could be coming out of the situation because the man feels his role as a head of the house has been taken for granted. And so I've seen this, and eventually the house had to be given for rent. A very beautiful house for that matter. So, yes, so that is one thing. Then another thing that can also result in a conflict is differences in our cultural background, our cultural, societal, and environmental background. You find that the African culture and Western culture, there are certain differences in expectations of what the cultures expect. For example, you find that in most African countries, men traditionally are expected to be the major income earners and thus expected to put in the bigger money in the bigger projects, whilst the women are just supposed to take care of the day-to-day meals and food,
The spending of the
clothing,
money.
yes, those little things, yeah. But then when you come into the Western world, it is different. That is where sometimes a 50-50 thing come in because every each
But should it be 50-50, Mama G?
well, that is the culture that has been seen here. And they say when you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. But what I believe in is that when you go to Rome, you don't just adopt the culture of Rome blindly.
Mm.
You still have certain principles that you had right from the word go.
Mhm.
It should be an understanding because if we are even earning the same, the marriage is sacrifice.
Mm.
If you are doing 50-50, then it's like you are in business. Did you sign a contract before entering into it so that I put my 50, you put your 50? So tomorrow, if you don't have the 50, I'll put my 50. Then what do you do? But marriage is helping, I mean, working together. You are one. So there is no 50-50. Even the marriage institution itself is not a half-half.
Mm.
It's a whole that
Mm.
have come together and forged together as one. So if even the institution was not 50-50, how do you expect that activities within the institution can be 50-50? It's not possible. It is sacrificial. If I have it, I have to put in 100%. If you have it, put in 100%. Let's sit down, let's plan it, how we are going to use the 100 that we have fused together to live our life because it is not a period of time we are living together.
Mm.
We are living together for the rest of our lives. So it's not like, okay, let me be cautious. Let me put the 50 back. So if it happens down the line, he leaves, I would. So it's like you're already planning for
The departure.
that is it.
So
Mhm.
eventually you will leave
so
because
so
that's the room you have made for him.
exactly. So as
Yeah.
you're planning for backup so that in the event of an unforeseen catastrophe, you know that, well, at least I did not lose. I still have something I can lean upon.
But you can't marry what you are leaning upon.
Mm.
And
Mm.
why did you go saying for better, for worse?
Mm.
The better is yes, you are all going together. The worst is yes, you are all going together. If the two of you are at the end of the day going to fall down somewhere, fall together. You will
Mm.
rise up together and you move together. That is
Let,
what
let me
life
let
is.
me ask a question.
Oh,
Okay. Please
You
go
see,
ahead, dog.
I mean, it's just maybe a little bit off, but it's relevant
No
in the long
problem, Doc.
run
Please let it
because
come.
I've seen this financial issue, and look, I had to stay with a couple some years ago. Okay, not very long, but some few years ago, and I sat with them over their finances, and I was with them from morning as early as 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I was in their home, and because they requested I come, and I sat with them, and it had to do with finances,
Mm-hmm.
and it will surprise you. And I'm not lying to you. We sat through this whole thing from 9 a.m. I left their home 11 a.m. 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and all I had to do was to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling
As
you.
you go with that to drink.
Yes. All I had to do was to drink water. And when I thought we had finished, a different thing came up. I mean, there were pay slips, there were this, that, there were that, and we had to do calculations and all sorts. And you can see how simple things have been left
Mm,
for the thing to go w- way off.
mm,
And it was one of those 50-50 scenarios.
mm,
And at the end of the day, you realize that, hey, what is this? Now, this is not to bring somebody's issues and spill the bean here, but the principles are what I'm talking about. But then when you said for better for words, I mean, just now, why is it that when it gets worse, when it gets financially worse, what people think about is leaving?
mm,
Mm,
Because I've seen too many of such scenarios
mm,
where financial situations bring out the worst
mhm,
in
yes.
both
You are not
people.
providing my
Yes.
needs. You
And
don't
at the
take
end
care
of
of
the day,
me.
they are making provision to part company.
mm.
Now, when you part company, are you not going to still handle financial issues?
Mm,
It is simply the word you used earlier on, selfishness.
Uh,
mm,
That is
mm,
the answer to the whole thing. Because if there are issues and the whole thing is the two of you have come together, when there are good times, spend it together. When there are bad times, sit through, pray to the Lord, and see how to walk through together. The bad times come not because bad times are just supposed to come, but it is to make you better, to make your relationship better. That is when you are going to even forge deeper because such things make you become more innovative. And bad times don't last. Definitely, you will come out at a certain point in time. When you come out and you turn back and you look at it, the two of you will sit down, and some of the things you went through, you will laugh with it, and
mm.
that bonds you more because you'll be surprised about some of the magic you did during those difficult times. Okay, it's all part of it.
yeah, but Mama G, let me ask a question again.
Okay.
I have I said I have questions. Today I came with questions.
Yes, because I was just going to ask Mama G one, but today, Mama
Okay.
G, we are bringing all our questions to you.
Well, that's the profession she chose. So it's on her head.
Okay, so
That's
then,
you know.
Doug, let me lead with my question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Mama G, I want to not a question per se, but I'm wondering why is it that financial transparency is a difficult thing when it comes to some marriages? I know some are doing well, some are being honest.
Don't say some, a lot,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
marriages.
Anyway,
Yeah, not
yeah.
some,
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, that was where I was, the next point I was moving to.
Okay,
It
oh
is
okay.
trust.
then
Yeah.
let's leave you to make your points
Okay.
before we bombard you with questions.
Okay. So then next point I was moving to was the issue of trust. Now, trust has been a certain little, or is it, should I rather call it the elephant in the room that has to be cut out. Reason is that right from the word go, when even people are now coming together to marry, everybody is bringing certain experiences from outside. Okay, some are bringing it from what they saw their parents go through, some are bringing it from what they saw friends go through, some are bringing it from what they have heard, and some are bringing it from the fear of unknown. And for that matter, people will come in, say all the nice things, for better, for worse, and all that. But as they are going in, they have one little thing they are holding at the back of their mind, that watch it, watch it, watch it. And it is because they've seen how people have done other people in, that is in quotes, they have done other people in. Some people have seen their parents, how the mother or the father was not very truthful when it came to finances, and therefore would not want to go through such situation again, on their own. Some have seen how friends have gone through such challenges, or have heard some situations where certain things have happened, and therefore they go in, but they are being cautious. So let me ensure that I don't put everything on the table for the sake of the unknown, so that I don't mess myself up. But when we are talking about marriage, we are saying that you have fallen in love. I don't see anybody who falls down and is still standing up. It doesn't happen. So when you fall in, go 100% and just fall in. Just hold on to God and trust that things will not go wrong, because most of the time, the things we fear do happen.
Mm.
The things we fear, they do happen. But if you go in with trust, that I am trusting God, that I have taken the right step, if even things go wrong, it is not what I am able to put aside that is going to hold me. It is God who is going to hold me. So you go in trusting in God, not trusting in the person you have married to, because man will fail you, but God will not fail you. So that is a critical thing we need to hold on to. But because of trust, and sometimes it is not even what we brought from outside, it is because of an experience you have had in the marriage, because one person has done something in the marriage for you to know that the person is being smarter than you thought. So when you are putting everything in, and you get up and you see that your partner has been keeping something away from you, it is what caused a lot of people to now also becoming smart, because when they thought they were in 100%, that person was in about 40, 50, or 60%, and that is not fair. So
Mm.
it is because of things people have seen or heard or have experienced, that is why people do not put in their full trust in it, and that is why people don't open up fully. But it is not the right thing to do, because it means you are holding something to secure yourself. Can you insure yourself? You cannot. It is only God who can ensure that your future is not going to be messed up.
Mm.
No matter how much you save on the side, it
Wow.
is not something that will sustain you, even if your spouse fail you. Just trust in God and know that He's able to keep you. If you go in truthfully and you are honest, and your integrity is upheld in everything you do, if your spouse is doing something and you are trusting God, God would open your eyes for you to see. God will give you that wisdom for you to know how to apply things. God would expose certain things to you. But go in with yourself fully, go in with your mind free, not holding anything, because until you have seen Him do something, there is no need to hold trust from the person. Yeah.
Can I add something to that?
Yes,
Mhm.
please,
I
do go
think,
ahead.
yes, I think one of the things I want to add is, if you are listening and you are not married yet, and you are in a relationship, or you haven't even gone into a relationship yet, and you are hearing some of these things, you may be a little scared. But this is what I want to tell you. A lot of the problems that you end up having in your marriages, especially in this area, especially when it comes to dealing with money. And I want to talk to you as a pastor. Open your eyes. When you get into a relationship, you should be able to observe the guy, be able to observe the woman, to be able to know their tendencies with money. Money is something that once you get into the relationship, because you are going to be putting things together, you're going to do things together, you will easily be able to see their tendencies towards money. So it's important that you don't take certain things for granted, because a lot of things can turn out to be very, 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 very intensive or intense when you have gotten into the marriage. So the way they spend money, and don't just be happy. A lot of women don't just be happy about the way the guy comes along. Oh, do you have some money there today? The moment you are not even married, you're in a relationship, and he starts borrowing money from you, then know that
Red
there's going to
flag.
be a build up in the marriage. You are not married. Maybe you are not working, he's working, and every time he experiences a shortfall, he's asking you, can you borrow me some money? Where does he expect you to get that money? And you may be going to your parents, you may be going everywhere, and your savings, and boom, and giving him money, thinking that, oh, he's the guy I'm going to get married to, and blah blah blah. You get married, and he's never going to open his money issues up to you.
Dog,
I've been
dog,
there.
what if it's a genuine need? He genuinely needs help or assistance.
Well, it would take a genuine circumstances for you to study the person, because
Mm.
if it's a
No,
genuine,
but let me even add that a little thing to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you genuinely need it, NYJ, you
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me that every month you will genuinely need money.
Mm.
Then where is your planning? Then still that's a red flag. Watch it, because if the person is working, if the person is not working, yes, then it means there is a need.
W-
But this person is working, you are also working. And
Okay.
every month this person is not able to live with the money, the income the person makes, and come to you to borrow money genuinely, a genuine need, then you need to watch it, because when you are getting into something, there are a number of things. Either the person does not have any good financial management skills, or the person is putting the money in very wrong places, or the person is doing something very wrong. And if that is not resolved and you enter into the marriage, you are going to have this thing now biting you, because every burden is going to be on you. So if it is a genuine one, yes, once in a while, I mean, something would happen, so you need something to sustain something. But then if every month the person is expecting that you are going to support him with something little because there's a genuine need, the person is not ready to marry to start with. I'm sorry. Because especially if the person is a man, and every month he's coming to you, the woman, to take a little bit, the guy is not ready to marry.
Mama G,
Because
in that case, can you, would it be right for you as the lady to ask him, my dear, what at all do you use your money for? Would it be right for you to ask him?
precisely.
in fact, these are the reasons. I brought this in because I have been in too many situations like this, where the issues become so difficult, and now you sit, and I am the type that when I'm handling the issue, I like to know the genesis of it all. I
Hmm.
ask questions.
Okay.
See any sign? Was he like this? And at the end of the day, you are told, yeah, when before we got married in the relationship, he always took money from me. That you have been performing the magic for him without questioning, without realizing that. You see, there are a lot of things we take for granted. I think NYG, there's a call. So if you can.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Channel of Mercy.
Yes. Yes. Kindly bring your contribution.
Greetings to greetings to everybody, and thank you for the today's topic. I appreciate all the input. It's been very wonderful.
Bless
But
you.
I have some reaction to some questions that pop up, and
Okay.
then to add my little contribution to
Sure.
it.
Sure.
And that is the latest question that you are addressing. The problem is that when people are dating, some people act like a wife or a husband in the process.
That's it.
They forget their role that they are dating. And then they begin to act like a wife or a husband. They begin to provide where they are not even supposed to provide.
Mm.
And human being is something that if you begin to nurture something, you have to continue. It's like a plant. So if this person is financially drained and you provide it, you can do it 1 time, 2 time, but if you have taken it as a full-blown responsibility and you have added it to your budget, or you have added the person to your payroll, then of course everybody like free gift. And unfortunately, if the person is the advantage kind, because what I have realized is that those of us who have traveled, the immigrant community, there have been so many clashes of culture between what we know back home and what we know here. And another factor is that people need things, people need papers. Some people are not genuine. They don't really love you. They don't even want to marry you. They want papers, or they have an agenda. If not even papers, they have some ulterior motive, so they will play along. People are very good players, and they'll play along very well with you. So those who are not yet married, I will use this opportunity to caution them. I'm not trying to frighten them or insinuate anything, but all I'm trying is that people have to do their homework very well. They should go back to the first message of reasonable expectation, do the pre-marital communication, and take a pen and paper and address some of the red flags. Those that are not addressable, just let it go. Because you can never change anything once you are married, or you can't change it. It don't work. It never had, and it will not work. You cannot change anybody.
That's it.
You can give all your money, all your everything to the person, but if the person is whoever he or she is going to be like that, and you are only going to end up frustrated and happy, and it's very, very, it leads to a very bad ending. So that is my reaction to that question. Sure. But if it is a genuine need, some people genuinely, they need your help, and both of you have already addressed it, you talk about it, and you know that genuinely this person needs it. Because I have seen some families that are immigrant family, and one person family doesn't need any help back home, but somebody just have, the person is the Joseph of that family. So if things don't go, if there is no help going back home, people will die. Or there's going to be a lot of catastrophe going on. So both of you have to sit down and then discuss it and see the strength. If this person has the financial strength, and then you all agree that, okay, every month we're going to be sending this money. And this is for married people. This is not for boyfriend, girlfriend. This is not for people in courtship. This is for established people that are in the
marriage. Yeah.
They can sit down and then address this issue. It's not like the man will wake up and send $50 home without telling the wife, because those are some of the reasons when people begin to feel so insecure, because they already have the insecure tendency in their hearts. But once they begin to see some red flag popping up, it just escalates the whole thing. Like, hey, this is what happened to Amma, and I see Kweku doing the same thing. So I better watch out. And that is when people begin to hide their financial,
their pay slips and other things, the pay slips and all that.
Yes, and another thing I've seen is that communication is the bedrock of any good and successful relationship. People have to improve on their communication. Don't assume that your wife knows. Don't assume that the father you are building back at home, your wife is aware. So if in the past it was $50 and you have increased it to $200, you don't have to tell your wife or your husband. You have to keep updating. Both of you have to know every detail about it. Assumption should be eradicated. And then also, people have to deal with trust issues before they even enter any relationship. Because if you are not able to deal with your personal trust issue before you enter into relationship or your marriage, it will just destroy you. Because it's just a matter of time. The insecurity will build up so fast, and you begin to suspect the person on anything. And the mind is very, very interesting and funny. Sometimes your mind can deceive you. You think the thing might look like it is red, but it's really not red. It's probably orange. So dealing with a personal trust is very, very important. Dealing with personal pain. If your upbringing was rough, maybe your parent went through some kind of one of your parents was not treated well, and then you have seen all these things played out as a child, and then you bring that to your new freshly relationship, it will affect you. So you have to talk about it. If you have to go to your own personal counseling and heal yourself before you enter your marriage, you have to, because it's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to come up. If you were not loved as a child and you think you are going to marry and your husband is going to provide you all this love that you haven't had in the past, but you haven't talked about it, you haven't addressed it, you didn't work on yourself, and then you are hoping for it, it's not going to happen, because I can tell you, marriage is work.
Mm-hmm.
The love dies over time. But the only love that stays is the agape love that God gives, and that comes through by working on yourself.
That's it.
Because if you have that love in you and you don't get it from your spouse due to whatever is happening, that love is still in you because you already work on yourself.
Yeah.
So you are able to move past whatever difficulty is on your way. So those are some of the things that I have noted down. So I just want to say thank you to you all. And then people have to be positive. People have to take the negativity away. The fact that something happened to somebody doesn't mean the same thing will happen to you. It's like, even if you are knocked down by a car, another car has to take you to the hospital. So you also have to be very, very positive. Yes, definitely. If you're knocked down by a car, ambulance have to take you down there. Because the car knocked me down.
The car that will even take you to the hospital will be running faster than the one that knocked you.
Thank you. So we have to deal with our personal fears. We don't have to nourish our fears, because those fears sometimes become reality, and it's not, the ending is not very well. So thank you so much for all that you are doing. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. You can also join us on the discussion by calling or texting on 0750 628 5994, or you can leave your comment on Facebook if you are listening to us on Facebook as well. Dog, I don't know if you want to say.
I was
Okay, Mama G, please go on.
Points. Yeah. So yes, what she said is right, very right, and some of the things she said are part of the when we get to financial planning. So like budgeting, it's one important thing that the couples would have to consider in this day and age. You don't just get money and spend it anyhow. You need to plan certain things. Yeah, so we'll be talking about it when we get to that point. But one of the things, just to add to what I was talking about, trust, and Dr. J brought in, okay, you as genuinely needing money. Some of the times, okay, it is, that's why when you are in a relationship towards marriage, you need to know the person. Some of the times, the person who is collecting the money may just be doing it because the person knows you have the money. The person knows you are earning so much. The person might have even come into that relationship with you because the person knows that where you are working, you are earning so much, and the person is coming there because of what the person can get from the relationship. You need to open your eyes. So when you see that this person is more often than not being more paying more attention to what is coming to you, that okay, so I need this, can we do that, and every time is expecting that because you have the money you have to be putting it forward, you need to immediately know that this person is just taking advantage of me, and the relationship may not even go anywhere, because the person came not for you but because of what you have. So you need to watch it. And this one, sometimes out of desperation, especially on the part of some women, they fall victim to some of these situations, because it's like age is now not so much on your side. So when some of these things are happening, you just close your eyes to it because you think, well, it will change, or well, I will manage it. It will get to a point, it will get to you. You are human. It will get to you. If you take that relationship forward and get into marriage, it will get to you when at a point you realize that he is also getting something. You don't know what he's using his money for, but you are always the one to put it forth, because the assumption is you have. Watch it, because you get tired of giving at a point in time. So desperation shouldn't push you to get into situations where conflict then start happening. Sorry, yeah. So that is a other point on this. So trust is very vital. We don't need to create situations where trust is thrown out of the window and now everybody is on their guard and trying to protect. Go in deep. God will protect you. Then another thing that bring financial conflict is our gender differences. From our discussions, we have mentioned along the way that men are different from women in the way we communicate, in the way we understand things, in the way we express ourselves and everything. We are different. God made us different, and our differences are complementary. So even when it comes to financial management, we are so different. Women look at finances in different way than men. You'll find that that is why I think one of you mentioned that the woman will be taking care of the home and everything. Yes, women are more home managers. So you find that the woman's expectation is that everybody is being fed well at home. The home is looking good. So when people are coming, women, we look more at the detail. What is my husband wearing as he's going out? That is why you find that then the woman will buy and buy and buy and buy. So it's like we just go to the market and things that are not really necessary may be the things that we will first buy, even before we buy the reason why the things that we actually went there to buy. It is not us.
You know, that was a pending question I wanted to ask you, but you finished with what you are saying, and then we'll come to the
But if
buying.
it is not you, who
It
is
is
it?
our nature.
Yeah, but that nature, is it not supposed to conform? Is it not supposed to change?
Yes.
Is it not supposed to be able to rationalize that, hey, we are married now? It cannot be as I want.
Mhm.
Because, yes, exactly what you have said is the cause of a lot of conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there are
Because
times
women
whereby I
tend
even
to, that
ask,
is
this
how it is.
thing that you are buying, is it necessary? Do we really need it? And sometimes you see the thing being bought and then you see it just lying idle somewhere or it's not even being used. And I'm like,
Never.
so why did you even get it in the first place?
NYG, when we see it, we believe we would need it because we are managing the home. So when you get into the market, your mind is still running. This one can do this, and that one can also help in doing that, and that one. But that is where we need to put our discipline shoes on, because if we have already planned together and we know that this month this is what we are using for the home, when we get to the market we would act wisely. We wouldn't just jump at anything, because if the money you had with you is only to buy that particular food and you go and you start buying a shoe, you would just remember that there is no food at home.
Mama
So
G,
then,
Mama
yeah,
G, for this one I'll pause you. Let me put myself on the spot.
okay,
There was a point, I know my wife is nuzzling, this will be another issue.
don't worry.
I'll team up with her.
There was a point we were driving home from somewhere, and it's like, oh, Sainsbury's, let me just get something from there. I think we're getting either milk or something that we needed for the time.
Mhm,
So like I had the kids at the back of the car and then I was parked at the parking lot.
mhm.
Oh, and I was like, please. He said, oh, I'm just getting one thing. Fast forward, long story short, Mama G, 10 minutes we were still in the car. I
Mhm.
literally had to get all the kids off. And when we went, the egg or whatever she was buying, she wasn't at that point. Now she was where there were dresses, and she said, oh, she saw these
Ah,
things, they've reduced the prices. And I'm like, ah, but that is not the reason why we even stopped there in the first case. And you can tell that was also another argument, and then in the car till we got back home. So like you're saying, can't you know, I had a preacher saying that it is when the men the money going out is so painful than you hear the men screaming, because it's like, you know, we are spending 20, or you
Mm-hmm.
know, we are spending 50 or 100. Then
Mm-hmm.
I see you packing the things into the basket, and I can literally tell with my eyes that this is past 150. Then now I'm beginning to say, is she paying with her card or my card? So that is also another area which brings, because at the end of the day, you see that we are all sat in the car. I'm looking west, she's also looking east.
You know, one thing that you need to understand that beyond everything, we also listen. Okay,
Mm.
so the instead of getting angry, discuss with us. I mean, let's understand you so that we wouldn't go.
Dog, I don't know if you you want to say something, because
Now,
Mama G, the understanding is we all
this
understand that you're just going to buy either milk or egg or something. Now you
you
are in the dress department, or you're in the dress.
She saw
now,
something.
now, now,
Something saw her.
now, let me take that from Mama G. I think she's vulnerable in this area. This is where I think I need to come in. I was being a very good
I'm
husband
very guilty, so I cannot answer.
because I'm sitting here. I know that
I'm
Dog,
very guilty.
her,
all
her confidence is gone.
unless you don't see 20% off,
You see,
10% off.
You know, sometimes we don't see it. Oh, they see us.
Are you?
and you know what? Sometimes Mama G doesn't even look at 20% off
Hey,
or 40% off. So that's why she cannot talk. She's just laughing.
dog, you coming now?
Yes, that's why I'm coming in. You see, what will solve this problem, which I need a lot of women, one of the key things that will solve this problem, which I think a lot of women will do themselves help, is that let women understand that we need to discuss financial priorities. It's important. It's as simple as that. The financial priorities should be discussed because you see, in relationships, it's very, very important that you make sure that you and your partner have similar values, similar beliefs, and similar priorities. And these things go a long way to help solve financial conflicts. So, the issue of financial priorities should be communicated because there is a way you live your life. There is a way you do things by nature. There is a way I also love my life, and there is a way I also want to do things by nature. But when we are able to communicate our priorities and are able to determine what we will do, when you make the mistake, you are the first person to know that you have made the mistakes. So you won't do the mistake and close your eyes thinking that you should be accepted because that is how you are. That is how women are. Because if women would continue to say that is how we are, then there are men also who are chasers, and from where we have come from and the background we also have, there are a lot of men who are just chasers, but they are Christians now. If they should also get loose and say that is how we are, then what is going to happen? So the moment you begin flagging that is how we are, that is how we are, we should be understood, then you are giving room for somebody also to bring something that will surprise you, that that is how I am. So I mean, if it is good for the goose, how do they say it?
Good for
Then
the
it's good
gander.
for the gander.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's important that that simple equation we have to do is that let us let us have similar values. Let's work at having similar values. Let work at having similar beliefs, and let us work at having same priorities. And let's communicate financial priorities is important. Otherwise, let me know what you are doing with your money. You've got to also be open and let me know what I'm doing with my money. So let's talk about money. And look, it can be very, very, this area can be very stressful. The issues of money, it can be very, very stressful in talking about, but it's important that we talk about our financial priorities and always be open, be very, very open. I am the type, I can't brood over the issue. I can't brood over the issue. If it comes up, it's got to be looked at in the face and it's got to be dealt with. And we've got to handle this. So it's important that even whatever you are saving, whatever I am saving, whatever I'm saving for, whatever you are saving for, we need to communicate and be very open to one another. And you've got to work on the nature you see you are vulnerable at. Because, yes, women are very, very vulnerable in this regard. Sometimes you are even going to do the shopping. Look, NYG, you said you were in the car. Sometimes she has no business to go there. You
Mm.
said, I want to go get something. And she said, oh, I just want to go and see you off. I want to go with you.
But she said
And
so.
at the end
The
of the
thing
day,
see
when you
them.
are coming out of the shop, you don't know who went to see who off
Something saw you. Something saw
because maybe you just saw one t-shirt you want to go for. But by the time they see you off, I mean, you have to ask, are you sure you are going to
you.
see me off or you are going to see what you can get for yourself? You see, so these are some of the things that easily bring problems. And
But
apart from that, communicating financial priorities, financial goals, there must be a list. You must have your financial goals in perspective,
yeah,
and you must decide how to spend.
because
Yeah,
You
that's
see,
the
you know
planning.
you
there
That's
see.
the
was one
planning to
point.
get to.
There
Yeah,
was
but
one point
just to
where.
chip something
Okay,
little
please go
in,
ahead.
I think one of the things that you can use to kind of tame the woman, if that's the right word to
But
use,
are they
Yeah.
is the
tameable?
planning. Is the planning. Once you've planned, and when you are planning, man, don't be too rigid because you know whatever you do, she would want to have something little to at least do that little thing. Don't leave every money to her, but make a little room for her for that what's the name, contingency, so
So
that you can use the
So then,
contingency.
Mama G, if you're saying that don't leave all the money to her, then an advice I heard years back, and I think I've mentioned this on radio before. That was, I think, the on my wedding day. On my wedding day, and then after we've done everything, one friend pulled me back and was like, and I mentioned it when we started communication. He was like, "Listen, as long as she knows the money is there, she will spend it.
No.
So the best way you can just avoid her spending or buying everything
Mm-hmm.
is make sure she doesn't know about all." And
That
I'm like,
creates another
That is
problem.
it.
exactly. And since then, I'm like, but why would you want to do that? And he said, yes, because when she sees that the money is there, she will find something to buy with it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say something here before.
Mama G said, hmm.
Yeah,
No, if you hide it,
let me
we'll
say
find it.
let me say something here. I said that you must always communicate financial
That
priorities.
is it.
And I said we should do everything to build similar values, to build similar beliefs
Mhm.
and priorities. Now, this goes beyond you and your spouse. All these things, the reason why we are touching on financial conflicts to be sure that we can resolve issues and not allow money to, it goes beyond us. When we are married, everything we experience goes beyond us. We are constructing the lives of children. We are molding the lives of our children for their future homes. And some of us, we have the problems we have today in our marriages because of what our parents did, because of the things we saw them do, because of the tears they left our mothers in, because of the mistrust and a lot of things. So when these things begin to chip in, and now I'm going to withhold the money, and I'm, because of her nature, I'm going to keep the money and not let her know that all this money is there and all that, just to have some form of control and be able to have contingency plans and all that. Look, be open about it, because you can use the same mode to teach the woman and for her to be able to come along well. And at the end of the day, you would have been opening your family up, your children up to the right upbringing, especially if you have girls and especially if you have boys. So you teach them the right way to handle a woman so that when they go out there, they will be the best. And that is how we can correct society as Christians as well. That is why we need to pay attention to the way we handle finances. It's the hub of a lot of things.
It is the
So
hope
it's
of
good
a
you
lot.
brought that incident, but then we need to realize that it goes beyond the weaknesses of the woman. It
Mhm.
Mm.
goes beyond the weaknesses of a man. We are building lives here. We are allowing God to raise His model here, and it has to be transparent. It has to be open. It has to be truthful. And this is what is lacking in a lot of relationships and a lot of marriages.
Okay, time exactly 27 minutes past 10 p.m. We just have about 3 minutes to wrap up. And as usual, we always want to get to a point whereby we would, get you discussing even after we've gone off radio in your homes and think about the issues we've spoken about, and out of them try and make meaning of what we are talking about. Mama G, I
Yeah.
would I'll come to you since we are talking about the women buying everything they see.
Mhm.
Uh, I know you haven't spoken a lot in
Yeah.
this arena, and so I won't pin you too much. But if a man or somebody is listening to us in your closing remarks, because we'll be continuing from this very spot next week. If somebody is listening to us and it's like, you see, they've just said it. What is that you can tell the man on behalf of the woman who is speechless
Okay.
in your closing
So
remarks?
Okay, so what I would say is what I was saying when Dr. J was talking, that at the end of the day, the woman is somebody you are making life with, building life with, and therefore she has understanding. When you tell her we are going here, she will go with you. So plan the finances. It does not need to all go into one account. It could be in different accounts, but once you are transparent, you know the month, this is what is coming, this is what we are planning, this is for investment, this is for this is for home activities and everything, this is for that, and then give a contingency, something little for the woman, so that the things that will see her, she wouldn't be too like overstretched. It's like you'll be it could turn into more of abusing her in quotes if you
Mm,
make it so dry that there is no way out. I've seen situations where every penny that is spent has to be accounted for. That is
wow.
stretching it to the extreme. So let the woman know this is why what I want us to do. This is what we need to put the money in. Home is this. This part is that part is that, and this little is on for those things that will see you, so that she sees that you also care about how she also feels, because some of the things we get, it is not just because we need it or don't need it, it makes us feel good. That's it.
Hey, Yehovah.
I'm not
Dog, dog, I wanted to ask a question, but I will save it because if buying is feeling good, dog, please, your final comments.
okay.
You see the way she said it makes us feel good.
Yeah, I think the time has gone pretty quickly, and
But it's a good spot for next year because Mama G mentioned a point which I believe that we'll be discussing off air. That is not all going in the same account.
Mm,
So I think the account is also another issue. So
mm.
I think with the finances, there's a host of areas that we
We still
really
need to touch.
have
Mhm.
to touch.
Because
And
the issue of accounting has really caused a lot of homes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
These
we'll
are
look.
real issues, and we're going to.
You see, so Mama G is bringing them out.
Yes, she's bringing them out, but it's only that one area she touched on, she forgot I was sitting here.
Hey,
But you see, I've been good. I've not brought anything out. Usually, I would have just
communication.
without even thinking of what I have said.
I've stopped buying.
Yeah,
Hey,
I haven't. You see, she's tempting me. I'm being
Mama G,
tempted.
there are listeners on there.
Yes. NYG, if before we go on, just yesterday, she says I should
Hey,
keep quiet. Yesterday, I was going into a shop. I was with her. I said, I just want to get something. And I just told her, I want to go and come. And she said, okay. By the time I was ready, she was ready.
hey.
So I asked her, are you the one going to the shop or I am the one going? And she said, I just want to keep you company.
Oh, how loving,
I went
Mama
to the
G.
shop. She followed me when I was leaving, going out. Then she said, "Please, I want to have a look at some things." And
Something saw me.
and and, and I just went out. I was going to sit in the car and move. You see, but let me leave that for another day.
Exactly. Listeners, it's been awesome. Doug will give us his final words, but we will continue from next week. Reasons why sometimes we need to buy, reasons why we have to understand and even at points in time come to a compromise. But I will not take everything from Doug. Doug, please give us your final words and we'll continue
I
next week.
think that the very simple thing I would say is that you need to talk about your dreams and aspirations and talk about your financial goals, your financial priorities. It's one key place to start from. And as you can hear, resolving financial conflict and a lot of other conflicts in the marriage or relationship you are in it requires that you defeat selfishness. A lot of times selfishness becomes the bedrock for all these things to be happening. And I want to leave you with three things to think about if you really really want to resolve the conflict in your marriage or relationship, be it finance or whatever conflict it is. It requires you knowing, it requires you accepting, and it requires you adjusting to differences. So it calls for a lot of work. So if we're talking about conflict, financial conflict is a big area, and we are going to tabulate all the necessary things we need to look at. But then you need to have what it takes to be knowing, because you can only resolve things that you know, and you've got to be accepting. You can only live through and be on top of things that you begin by accepting, and you need to be able to adjust to differences. So yes, work on your selfishness. Look at yourself, don't selfish, and that would do a great deal in helping your relationship. And if you are not in a relationship or you are listening to prepare yourself, don't be scared. When you tick the right boxes, the lines will fall onto you in pleasant places. The Lord bless you.
Thank you very much, Doug. We have Dr. J and Mama G. We say thank you so much for your contribution this evening, and the Lord really bless you. But before I give the closing remark, Doug, would you please update us as to the programs coming on tomorrow to the weekend, please?
Yeah, tomorrow we have a journey through the Word of God in the morning, and then also there was one important program I forgot to tell you, is that we started a leadership conference today, the leadership conference today, and I forgot to mention it this morning. So I would want you to take note that tomorrow, same time like we had today from 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. We have a leadership talk coming up. Can you remind me of the person talking tomorrow?
Okay, so tomorrow as we have pastor from the Midlands, Wolverhampton, in the person of Pastor Emmanuel Ayonogu. He is the founder of the Oasis of Love International, and he will be speaking on leadership in churches, leadership in ministry. And then on Friday, we have Pastor Cephas Regis from Houston, Texas. He is also touching on the departmental leadership in churches, whereby some churches are struggling within this time, some churches are closing, some churches are losing auditoriums, and so we are looking at how the leadership of the church will be able to manage these times that we are living in. So tomorrow is Pastor Emmanuel. Friday we have Pastor Cephas joining us, and it starts from 8 p.m. as Doug you said,
Yeah.
and it runs to 9 p.m. It's just a 45-minute talk, and
And
yes.
immediately after the 8 p.m., I come on with Pastor Toby on the road to Emmaus. So tomorrow is a packed evening for us, just like tonight was packed, but I forgot to announce it and to let you have the flyers. So and it
Friday,
was really good this night, this evening. We had one
Mr. Franklin Ajete.
from Ghana, and
Yes.
the delivery was excellent. You should have listened. But then it's on Facebook that you can catch up with and listen to it.
Okay. Doug, on
So
Friday
it
too.
continues pretty much that way. And Friday morning, journey through the word. I have I'm interviewing. I have somebody I'm interviewing on Friday, isn't it? So Friday morning journey with the word, and then Saturday I have Mama G. I'm interviewing Mama G Saturday from the US of A. These are two women who have gone through similar situations and have a story to tell, and you don't want to miss it. That is on Friday morning, and proud to that Saturday morning, and proud to that will be the Cosmopolitan weekend show, and then Total Woman. The Cosmopolitan weekend show is at 6 a.m. to 9, and then I come on at 11, and Total Woman comes on at 8 p.m. So it promises to be a very busy weekend for our radio stations, and this is where you need to keep your dial. Supreme Praise, Faith Channel, and
Channel of Mercy. And just to add a word, last week Saturday I was listening to Total Woman, and it was just awesome. Talking about it's an area that by grace I love so much when it comes to technology, and especially the social media. When the resource person was talking about what you need to know that your children browse when it comes to the internet, the sites they access, and it's so amazing, because if you think, oh well, it's their day, it's a time for the children, it's modernization. Listen, IT, and I believe that today our resource person was talking about IT. It is very, very good but dangerous. It is a grounds that if you are not careful and inclined, before you realize your child is into a different, should I say, society, or a different thing, that it will be very difficult to get him or her back, because it is addictive. And so the resource person, made some very, very important points, and I believe that it is a program that every parent, and if even you are now getting married, you should really listen to. The Total Woman. It is not just talking about women.
Yeah.
It is not just talking about women. I really learned a lot. So I will encourage everybody.
Continuing next Saturday, coming Saturday, he's going to continue with it.
That is this very Saturday.
Yes, the same person, the same resource.
Yes, listeners, I would really encourage and I plead with you that tune in this Saturday at 8 p.m. to the program The Total Woman. You will not regret. It will be for your own good. There are things that, we might not consider, we might just overlook, but it is very, very critical. And so, one of the points where when the issue of remote control sharing and all that, it's just amazing. I believe that time is fast spent, and for the first time, we would ask the bishop of the house to bless everyone who is listening to us, and also do the closing remark.
Okay, I think I just did that one. You made me do that one. I can see you are very happy today, this evening.
No, no, that was your closing remark, but this one you're
Close
actually blessing us and
and
closing the
close.
program.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
sorry. I pray that the Lord will bless you. The Lord will send you help from the sanctuary. That the Lord will cause your head never to go down, but He will be the lifter up of your head. I pray that there will always be oil upon you and your household, that nothing will fail in the name of Jesus. That no matter what is failing, let life come into it. If your relationship is struggling, if your marriage is struggling, no matter the challenges, the financial challenges you may be going through, or whatever may be the source of conflict in your marriage, we pray peace be still in the name of Jesus. That every storm be still. And for your journey as you grow into your future, may grace cause you to grow and increase and flourish in Jesus' name. I pray the blessing of God upon you, upon your spouse, upon your family, your children, and upon your financial dreams and aspirations and everything that you express your lives in as a family, as an individual, and as people in a relationship. The Lord bless you and increase you and cause his face to continually shine upon you in Jesus' name. Amen.